have a large enough channel to effectively get the numbers to check a Venn diagram of Surmia subscribers to baseball fans, save for one person who you will meet later. But I can still find joy in referencing the fact that history in sports is built over decades, even centuries. But the tales of video game franchises are both vastly higher in numbers and crammed into vastly shorter time spans. Well over 13 million players have played Destiny in its lifetime starting in 2014. Major League Baseball, an institution for well over 100 years, has only had 23,000 players make an MLB debut. Whether the Destiny players know it or not, they have a chapter in the bulkiest, most annoying book you could find. Not just those who ran records or performed impeccable solo challenges, but everyone who has ever launched the raid before. All of this is incomplete without you. I talk about this for two reasons. First is because you are watching a video Surmia78 wrote and edited, and the second is, baseball only figured out how to play the best baseball in 2002. Almost a century after the first official World Series was played. The team was the Oakland Athletics, though by the time this video comes out, they might already be in Sacramento, who looked at the inefficient means that teams were scoring in and fixed it all in a record 20-game winning streak. Destiny had something similar happen, where we spent eons failing to understand the risk-reward of strategies in King's Fall and losing time for quite literally no reason. Until, of course, the Destiny equivalent of Moneyball showed us that we were truly behind the curve. Now that all the non-baseball fans have clicked off, the intellectual among you that remain can talk about the great successor of the great tfue.
Another great improvement to the world record, and another record of simple reasoning. Like with lots of the Xbox beating PlayStation occasions, it's simply better players completing a better run. They fixed that atrocious transept, and did the run for the third time on 310. This is becoming pretty regular, but unfortunately I don't think they should have. Watching back their Golgoroth segment, there were multiple shots that did not have tether boosting the damage. As well as the added health to Golgoroth, I would argue changes the encounter from being a one-phase to being a two-phase, and therefore a pretty major time loss. However, this is the second record to implement blinding bubbles to keep the acolytes and adepts off them, so the damage phase starts a little bit earlier to offset all of this. But it still adds up to a brand new world record. While they are less important to King's Fall history, this is the final record for Magnetic Rubber, who at this point had been a part of every King's Fall record on Xbox, and is tied for the lead in total King's Fall records with Modern Tryhard. He will retire from King's Fall after the next record. As content is created, elevating a certain number of players above the rest, what is often lost in translation are those who helped make it all happen. Without similarly great players to tfue, it's impossible to tell if and when Redeem would have gotten all of those records in the time that they did. Worry not, soldiers, your spotlight will come. Another minute-long time save, and another surprisingly long gap between records. The second generation of Redeem ran far more Wrath and Crota after Baxley would be added to the group, and nobody on PlayStation would be all that competitive for a long time. This is also the second, and far from the last time we'll have this particular issue. Because this has no footage we can view to see things like strategy changes or improvements, we'll have to take this time to go on a short adventure. Video game speedrunning beyond the year 2010 basically requires video proof of your record, not as a strict form of verification and evidence of no cheating, though it does do that. It's considered just the bare minimum of speedrunning. This is not the case in Destiny. Just a couple years down the line, we'll have this be a regular problem. But this has potentially already been the issue to this point. These large gaps and regular minute barrier breaks are normal things for early record progressions, but also potentially just the runs they liked and decided to upload. Everyone from the early days has been gone from the Destiny scene for years and either won't recollect every record they were on, did not respond to my DMs on Twitter, or is tfue and is understandably busy. Though I think it's definitely more the ones that were uploaded were indeed the records. Light level was lower and people were relatively inexperienced at the raid, so getting runs this late in general on record pace were probably less frequent. Anyway, since there's nothing really to comment on for this record, on to the next one. 4 months later. Another far cry from the records that would only last 24 hours. This will happen a couple other times, but unlike the previous occasions of long record breaks, we have a video. This is notably the first record since the release of Rise of Iron. No notable changes to the record itself, which by the way is in hard mode again. except for the implementation of what I'm going to call stupid idiot strats. That seems a bit harsh, but imagine preparing for less than half of the possible situations at daughters, while potential results are extreme time losses. On the second daughter, you can see the team set up a player on each plate so that they can start running immediately. But you can also see Cruelty setting up on what is eventually plate 3. Cruelty is then torn between dimensions, meaning he literally has to travel the longest possible distance to get to plate 1 to be the runner, resulting in a spectacular 9-second time loss for no reason. Did anybody calculate the risk to reward here? It just makes no sense to even bother trying this, and weirder still, they still beat the record by 30 seconds. Look, early records are filled with "why didn't you do this?" or "do this," or "you should have done this" in that situation. It's pointless to do this because the knowledge and skill of players then were far lower than players today. Now that we've dealt with that, Sermia mentioned team composition a couple times. Most of them people were running warlocks out of necessity, but this is the first instance of 5 Titans, 1 Hunter being the team comp. This will be filled around with for a couple more records, but at least when it comes to the majority of composition, this would be how King's Fall was played for the remainder of these videos. We've come pretty far since the start. 5 straight records on Xbox. Pretty insane compared to the levels of parity we would receive in the past, with Redeem trading blows with the best last only that PlayStation had to offer. Now some people who are PlayStation Destiny raiders are wondering, now why do you keep dragging PS through the mud? What do you even stand to gain? Look, it sucks right now, just as it does trying to replenish a record caliber raiders on the console. But your time will come, I really do mean it. But you should be thankful that PlayStation doesn't have to deal with any strats like this. Right as Redeem wraps up a great Golgoroth kill to press the time advantage against the past run, Deddy executes every LFG's favorite strat, the stay too long in the pool and kill your entire team strat. With Dark being on Hunter, this puts him well behind the pace of the others, and Redeem has dropped a solid -15 at Transept. Anyway, we get to Daughters round 2, and Jazz, why are you over there? Oh god, did you guys not learn anything from the last run? Why are we pre-assigning plates? I get it, you're 30 seconds ahead, but you can't be serious about all this stupid losses. While you don't get these records and legends on PlayStation, you don't have to live down these headaches. I'm being really mean. Let's look at something to cheer me up. I'm a guy who enjoys positive change, and I'm excited to point out this fact about speedrunning in Destiny back then. Everyone wanted to be Cruelty and Baxley, myself included, and that led to inspiring an entire generation of runners who aspired to do what they did in King's Fall by breaking all the records and pushing past what is determined to be the outer limit of the raid. So what happens when 6 people take a look at the year-old record that they grew up wanting to beat joint forces?
In the description of Cruelty's mid-26 minute time, he stated that around 26 minutes flat is the ideal limit for current strats. And because they were closing in on what was just possible, they decided to rest on their laurels and move on to running Wrath. In their place steps in for the first time an Xbox team other than Redeem to hold King's Fall record. A record lower than what Redeem even believed to be possible. How is this even real? Theoretical limits have been both broken on Destiny and on other games prior to this one, but those are games where margins only ever increase by tenths of a second at a time. This is a 30-second demolition of the greatest raider to ever play at this point to break the human limit. Please, please, please tell me there is footage. Oh, thank God. Relics are good, but not single-handedly changing anything. Ships are a standard 5 Titan sword flying. Totems you can't speed up at all. Warpriest is a mere shell of his difficulty here thanks to the new update of the game. Age of Triumph introduced the 390 versions of every raid including Vault of Glass, from which one obtains the Found Verdict. Simply put, the greatest weapon in Destiny history. Forget Year 1 Galahorn, forget unnerfed Vex Mythoclast. This weapon is easy to obtain, guaranteed near perfect shotgun, and when complemented with an aura holder capable of killing enemies from Warpriest's platform, you are now up dozens of seconds compared to sniper strategy. There are many new inventive strategies that come in the future, but this is the first example of a new strategy that is still used today. But we aren't done. Notice how there were no tethers during War Priest, and that's because tether is actually terrible. Tether released in the same DLC as the ability Melting Point on Sunbreaker Titans. Melting Point is a 50% damage boost, whilst Tether is only a little over 32%. You would think to just combine the two, but nope. Tether overrides Melting Point, meaning that you lose about 17% of your potential damage simply by tethering an enemy that could be Melting Pointed. Did you guys not test anything? I mean, even if you want to use sleepers and snipers, being able to put on Melting Point would still be better than alternating tethers with bonus mobility for transition encounters. Sorry, not about you, it's about these goats here. They aren't done using Melting Point in the raid either. Here's them using it on Golgroth to lead to a slightly faster average kill time. Here they are using it during Daughters. Kills are both faster in small and extremely large magnitudes. Transept had 0 mistakes through the entire puzzle, and oh my god, they're in the middle calling out the position that was torn so they know where the backup is supposed to go. Yes, yes, yes! More of this! We will talk about the greatest King's Fall records and go over what is generally perceived the best among them, but this record is rarely brought up. The Xbox B team just ran circles around Redeem of all people, breaking through all limits understood, and getting what I can only hope is the recognition they deserve in a John Boy-styled video more than 6 years after the fact. You guys did something great. Enjoy it.
Whoa, what the fuck? Oh my god!
So 26 boys.
Let's fucking go!